Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smriti Purana Namalayam Namame Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Yakṣa uvāca kiṃsvidādityamunnayati keca tasyābhitaścarāḥ kaścainamastaṃ nayati kasmiṃśca pratitiṣṭhati. There are four questions. Now answers. Yudhiṣṭhira uvāca brahmādityamunnayati devāstasyābhitaścarāḥ dharmaścāstaṃ nayati satye ca pratitiṣṭhati. So as we started describing this Yakṣapraśnāḥ topic, in the initial presentation of the story, there were a few inaccuracies. I was not very conscious of the story, and so some inaccuracies have crept in. One of them is, Bhima has not killed Ghatotkacha. Ghatotkacha happens to be the son of Bhima. Bhima killed Hidimbasura. I hope that is correct. Because the story part I am not very sure. Ghatotkacha is the son of Bhima, and Ghatotkacha was killed by Karna, I suppose, in the battlefield. That is one inaccuracy. Like that, there are a few other inaccuracies. So, either Dharmaraja, Bhima, Arjuna. So, who is the middle one? Who is the second one? Maybe that part also I was not very accurate. That is one thing. And secondly, the verses, there are many versions of Bharatam. Some verses are there in one version, and some other verses are not there, extra verses are there in a different version. So that kind of a thing is also possible. And whatever version is before me, I am following it. Suppose you come across a version in which there are 2-3 more verses. I have looked at those verses, it's all right. You don't miss anything, so we can move forward. That is a second aspect. Then the story that we have seen up till now, there is a lot to learn from that. You see, the 5 brothers, they are trying to help a poor Brahmana to recover his arani, the wooden slabs made of tender wood, which is used to produce fire in order to perform the fire ritual. So that is how they were trying to help the poor Brahmana, and in the process, what happened to the poor Brahmana's arani, etc., that is not the point. But these 5 brothers were caught in a bind. They were in some serious trouble. And so Dharmaraja arrives at the scene and finds his 4 brothers fallen dead on the ground. Now, that was a terrific calamity in life, and he was stunned to see what happened. And then he grieves elaborately. He was overwhelmed with grief, like anybody else for that matter. But generally, people stop there. Calamity in life is not unusual. It happens to everybody. There is nobody who is an exception. The calamities in life, they come in the beginning part of life. Sometimes they come in the middle portion of the life. Sometimes they come in the later part of the life. Nobody can escape these adversities in life. But generally, how people react to a given adversity, that is very important. This is how we have to learn to examine the life, the book of life we have to study. That is the way you have to look at this story, this epic. So Dharmaraja, first he was stunned by the turn of events. Second, he was overwhelmed with grief. Grief-stricken. That is second. But then he doesn't stop there. Third, he recovers himself. And then he pays attention to the adversity that is facing him, and he pays attention to that. This paying attention is the important thing. So you come to it, you come to paying attention, either in the beginning or in the middle, or at least at the end, you should come to pay attention to the adversity staring in the face. Because when there is a problem, the answer is in the problem. People do not understand that. The answer is not away from the problem. It is always in the problem. If you understand the problem, the answer is there. Not only that, if you understand the problem, it is no more a problem. It stops being a problem, if you understand it. For example, while walking, this is Arizona, there are rattlesnakes, or anywhere snakes could be there. Suppose you see a snake and know that it is poisonous. Is there a problem? There is no problem. Because you know what to do. For example, you do not touch it. You move away from it or do something else, whatever. So, the moment you understand the problem, it is no more a problem. Okay? And when you do not try to understand the problem, meaning you do not pay attention to the problem, in your anxiety to find a solution, to find an answer, that is how you fail to understand the problem, and therefore the problem persists. Okay? Therefore, we must understand the problem. We should not ask how to solve it. That question you should not ask. Because when you ask the question how to solve it, you are already escaping from the problem. And you are trying to search for an answer outside the problem. And you will not find an answer for it. So you stay with the problem. And you understand the problem. Surely, the problem itself reveals the answer. People's psychology is, in my opinion, totally misled in this regard. Totally misled. Suppose somebody is sick, okay? Now you leave the person to fend for himself or herself. Somebody takes the person to the hospital. Some treatment is going on. You go to a place of worship and start worshipping God to make the person healthy. Is that the way to face the problem? No, that is the religious way. That is the answer you can give. That is the religious way. Is it the religious way? I have a feeling that is not the religious way. The correct, that is not the true religion. The true religion will be, you pay attention to the problem and try to understand that the so-called problem is the handiwork of the higher power, and learn to accept the will of the higher power. Learn to surrender your will to the cosmic will, and then take the person, in the particular context of a person being sick, take the person to a physician and try to see God in the physician, that is the religion. You want religion, right? That is the religion. Vaidyo dhanvantaro harihi. Sorry. Vaidyo narayano harihi. Not dhanvantaro ka dhanvantari. The way Vaidyo narayano harihi. That doesn't mean when person is sick, Narayana will come from Vaikuntha and will treat him. That is not the meaning of it. It only means you worship Narayana, the God, who will eliminate all your problems, Hari, and he is before you in the form of the physician. And so pay attention to the problem, pay attention to the illness of the person, and then pay attention to the physician whom you should choose. Pay attention there, what kind of physician I have to choose. For example, you may not want to choose a surgeon right away, for example. So pay attention there and take the patient to the physician and pay attention to the problem, and it will reveal answer. And then understand the problem in the cosmic context and learn to surrender to the cosmic will. That is the religion, true religion. So we have become ignorant of some of these basic truths. I am sorry to say that. So we are like the schoolboy taking an examination. He does not read the problem properly. Mathematics paper he has to answer. He doesn't read the problem. It is called problem. In mathematics text, after the theorem and all discussions are over, problems like that it will be put. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Answers will be given at the end. And this guy, this schoolboy, he doesn't read the problem properly. And he is looking for an answer. And he looks this side, that side, up. He doesn't read the problem carefully, the student. He wants the answer, and therefore he fails. Isn't it so? But if he reads the problem very slowly, very carefully, look at the problem from all angles, then he will find the answer. In fact, it is not that he finds the answer, the problem reveals the answer. The moment he starts escaping from the problem, looking up on this side and that side, he will not get the answer. So follow the problem itself. And I would even go to the extent of saying, don't look for an answer. Because the moment you start looking for an answer, now what is the answer? The answer is in your head. And you are a conditioned person. And already you have decided what the answer should be. And that will not be the answer. In the cosmic scheme of things, what you have decided in your mind as the answer need not be the answer. In fact, I don't say like that. Is not the answer. You decided somewhere this is the answer, it will not be the answer. Therefore, follow the problem itself and don't look for an answer. To look for an answer, to look for a solution is not to understand the problem. If you understand the problem, so many things can happen right way. You will not be looking for a prejudged answer, which is a wrong thing to do. You will try to understand the mind of the higher power, the will of the higher power. That will open our eyes and help us to understand the movement of life itself. And then, so as you understand the problem and you pay attention to the problem itself will reveal the answer. So I made a point, okay? So that is what Dharmaraja is doing. So he was stunned, he was grief-stricken, now he is paying attention to the problem. And he is not a ready-made answer with him, and he is not looking for an answer. He is just paying attention to the problem. Generally, when we have a problem, our instant response is to look for an answer, which means you run away from the problem. So this is one thing that people have to understand. Generally, people are more concerned to find out an answer instead of studying the problem. Therefore, we are never in direct contact with the problem because we are always striving to seek the answer, to find the answer. So, that is a wrong way. When you understand the problem, you pay attention to the problem and understand the problem entirely. It is not about some imagined answer, which is only a mental projection. Whereas, when you pay attention to the problem, there is no imagination involved, no projection involved. There is an immediate understanding of the problem. And that understanding, born out of extraordinary awareness of the problem, will dissolve the problem. So I am conscious of what I am saying. So you experiment with this thesis and you will see how quickly and easily you may solve every problem. You experiment with this. So, and you see the problem very clearly, distinctly and purely. So, don't allow your mind to cheat you or to trick you in a way that you escape from the problem. I suggest you face the problem. Then you will discover that the problem itself has an answer. Okay? So, I know what I am saying is generally not the method adopted by people. The worldly people don't understand it, obviously. And the religious-minded people are no better. They're equally dumb when it comes to some of the understanding of life. They only look for some solution, quick solution. Once a very big celebrity in India, in Hyderabad, very big celebrity, he is a millionaire, a big celebrity. He has a problem. The problem is that some demon is bothering him. Some evil spirit is after him. And he is very sure of that because he had faced in his thinking a series of adversities, a series of troubles. So there must be an evil spirit doing all that. And he asked me, do you have a solution for that evil spirit? I said, yeah, I do have a solution. What is that? The evil spirit doesn't exist. I do have a solution. So, but what about the series of problems or troubles I am getting? You examine them. You write down one after the other, one after the other. I have a fatty liver. You were drinking alcohol, not evil spirit. You are a drunkard. Why do you talk of evil spirit? Is there not the solution there? An answer is also there. So this is how people are. Then he asked me a second time, and his wife also joined. Swamiji, you mean to say there is no evil spirit? No, there is no evil spirit. And they are looking for an answer which is in the form of a way of driving away the evil spirit. You got the example? They will never succeed. They will never succeed because there was no evil spirit there. How can they succeed? Also, I would recommend a little more. When you understand the problem, only when you do not condemn the problem, there is no condemnation, then only you understand. Generally, we are trained or we are kind of conditioned to condemn the problem. How this can happen to me? It is like somebody was diagnosed with, say, malignancy. He or she says, I never smoked. He is smoking, he is all right, whereas I never smoked. Why malignancy to me? So this kind of a condemnation. You wait, the person who is smoking, he will answer, he will pay the price at his time. Why you compare like that? Malignancy need not be due to smoking only. Even in the study of cancer, at first they thought that some chemicals called carcinogens cause cancer. That is the first stage of understanding of cancer. And then came the second stage when they thought that the virus and bacteria cause cancer. That is the next level. Now the third level is autoimmune problem causes cancer. That is the third level. Now there may be fourth level waiting also. And therefore, don't be in a hurry to conclude this way, that way. Better, instead of working for a prejudged answer, don't even consider an answer, just examine the problem. So don't condemn the problem. You be with the problem, understand the problem, without condemnation and without justification also. No justification should be given. And you examine it, and then the problem will reveal the answer. And then you discover a freedom. You become free. When the problem reveals the answer, now you are free. You are not stuck with the problem anymore. And let me add one more thing. There are problems of life for which there are no categorical answers of yes and no. You don't look for an answer yes or no. There are no such answers. Life is too vast and it doesn't fit into a scheme or blueprint that you have in your mind. It doesn't fit. Therefore, the thing to do is pay attention to the problem. That is all you have to do. Please understand that the problem itself contains the answer. And I am not disregarding the religion part of it, the bhakti part of it. I am only suggesting exercise bhakti the right way, not the superstitious way. So generally, the religion of the masses mostly is superstitious. Mostly. There will be some good elements everywhere. Therefore, don't be superstitious about the problems of life and then assume that it is all devotion and all that. No. Anyway, Dharmaraja, now I am coming back to the narration. Dharmaraja was paying attention. And already he has absorbed the hit. The stunning hit, he has already absorbed it. And he has almost become normal. So much so, he is ready to examine the questions asked by the great yakṣa. And the first set of questions, the 4 questions, they are talking about what is called the God consciousness. You should become God conscious, particularly God conscious when you are facing an adversity in life. That is when the God consciousness will help you out. Generally, We are God conscious when we are in prosperity, but when adversity stares in the face, we forget about the God. Or maybe the other way also. May not be so. May not be so. So in prosperity, we forget about the God. In adversity, we become conscious of the God the wrong way. We do become conscious of the God, but the wrong way. So generally, we are not we are not ready to accept the will of the higher power. So the universal power, the higher power, it makes everything, and also it unmakes everything. Brahmādityamunnayati. In particular, it is the higher power which makes the sun rise in the east. But that is the particular question and answer. But in general, it is the universal power or the higher power, the cosmic intelligence, which makes and unmakes everything. So you have to understand that cosmic intelligence as infinite, undivided, and ever present, and ever active. That cosmic intelligence. Ever present and ever active. And the name given to that cosmic intelligence is Brahma. So there is the mysterious power, sometimes called the higher, quite often called the higher power. We put capital H and capital P. And sometimes we call it prime mover, capital P and capital M. So that creates everything and moves everything. So that understanding is called God consciousness. And when there is an adversity in life, you become God conscious is a great blessing. Now the questions, they test Dharmaraja's consciousness. Is it God conscious? Is he God conscious or not? And is he God conscious the right way? So, because all that is great and wonderful, and all that cannot be explained, cannot be understood with the limited human mind, is the handiwork of that God. So, and where is the God? Where is the God? God is in the prosperity, and God is in the adversity. The painter is in the picture. You have to see God. Generally, we do not see God in adversity. We question the God in adversity. We don't see God in adversity. And we forget the God in prosperity anyway. Therefore, you have to understand that the painter is in the picture. What we do, we separate the painter from the picture and then look for the painter elsewhere. And then you look at the picture and complain about the picture. This picture is not right. The painter who made the picture should be questioned. He should reorganize the picture. This is the way we look at the situations of life. We fail to see the painter in the picture. The painter is ever present in the picture. Therefore, we have to grow into God consciousness. And particularly in adversity, we have to go into God consciousness. And we have to rise to the level of God consciousness, and that will solve the problem. That will reveal the answer to the problem. And also, sometimes the answer may not be as we expect, and that may give you the mental strength to face the problem, to examine the problem, to respond to the problem the right way, and therefore it is no more a problem. So, all that people have to understand. You see, we have to learn to surrender to that higher power. Okay? You examine this particular context. The four brothers have fallen dead and their dead bodies are lying there. And now he is able to think of the higher power which makes the sun rise in the east. So the power which makes the sun rise every morning, day after day, that power must have had a hand in what happened or what is happening around also. And when that power creates such a cosmic event so well, why do you fail? Why do you think it cannot do this small thing in the proper way? So we should learn to surrender to that higher power. So without the sense of surrender and without the God consciousness, these problems of life become unbearable. So we have to grow into that God consciousness. And I tell you an example. A baby, a child, puts its small body in the lap of the mother. And the baby's mind is very innocent. He puts himself, or the baby puts itself in the lap of the mother. And now the baby gets all the comforts of the universe. All comforts that the universe can give, the baby gets. And all the worries of the baby are gone. Baby has no more worries left. He is just putting his body or its body in the lap of the mother. Whatsoever may happen, whatever may happen, there may be a tempest, there may be heavy rains, there may be an earthquake, or any other calamity may happen. The child has nothing to worry about it. Because the child, with its innocent mind, has put itself in the lap of the mother. And the child will have a sweet sleep. Whatever may be happening all around, it will have a sweet sleep. And then the child wakes up fresh and invigorated. That is how the child wakes up. We should be like that child. And the lap of the mother is the higher power. We should learn to surrender to the higher power. We should learn to present ourselves into the fold of into the lap of that higher power. So my being is in that higher power. My movement is in that higher power. I exist and I move in the lap of that higher power. And you should reach that state of surrender and be very innocent about it. Then whatever may happen all around, you will remain at peace or in peace. This is what we have to do. We have to grow into that God consciousness, at least when an adversity stares us in the face. So that is what Dharmaraja is doing. And so he was asked a question. Suppose somebody asks us a similar question. What answer we will tell? Hey, what happened to you? What a crooked person you are. What a heartless person you are. I am struggling with a calamity in life and you are asking about God and sun and moon and all that. What is this? That is how we want to say. The idea is we do not want to move away from the immediate context in which we are. We do not want to rise above. We are caught in the topical issue. And we want a solution to the topical problem within the topical context. We don't want to rise above the topical context. That's why we can never find the proper solution to the problems that we face. When you are facing a problem, you rise above. For example, somebody is, he has a lot of riches. Some of the riches was stolen by somebody. Somebody has stolen his money. Immediately, the person rises above that topical context and says, who is to steal what? Everything belongs to Ishvara. Even the thief, the God came in the form of the thief and stolen. There is nothing to worry about it. Everything belongs to God anyway. God has taken what really belongs to Him. And so what is there for me to worry? That is what he says. He is the true devotee. That is the true devotion. That is the true religion. Therefore, we should uplift ourselves very consciously into that God consciousness. That is the idea. And all the 4 questions are about God consciousness. And Dharmaraja gives very satisfactory answers to the God consciousness questions. So we have seen brahmādityamunnayati. And then, so when you look at the world, you are looking at the Brahma. You don't try to find a Brahma outside the world. There is no such thing. And then in the world, there are many forces, many powers in the nature. And every one of those powers is a glorious manifestation of that God's power. A rain-bearing cloud is very much a manifestation of the higher power. But name given is Indraha. The fire that we use for cooking food, etc. And then there is fire within us, there is heat all around. That heat, which is also a manifestation of that higher power, but now we call it Agni. Then wind blowing across in the atmosphere, in the sky, that is another manifestation of that higher power, called the Deva Vayuhu. Nadi, is the river, is another manifestation of that higher power, and so called goddess. Why goddess? Because Nadi is Ikaranta Strilinga Shabda. That's why goddess. Otherwise, no reason to be male or female and all that. That is the reason why it is called goddess. You can as well call the manifestation of power and be done with it without fixing a gender and all that. So, Ganga, you put a gender, female devata. What will you do with Mississippi? So, don't bother about this gender and all that. Not important. In the language it will be there. We need not change the language now. But the point is, it is another manifestation of that higher power. So all these multiple manifestations that are there of the higher power, of that Brahma, are like so many limbs of that higher power. And they are all called devatas. And those devatas surround, they are always around that central Brahma, Saguna Brahma. That is the way you have to worship the glory of the Brahma, Paramatma or Saguna Brahma, both within you and without you. All around you, you should be able to see the glory of Ishvara. And within you also, you should be able to see the glory of Ishvara, Vibhuti, like the heart is beating. Some of these things, if you pay attention, they are mind-boggling. That heart, you compare it with a pump which is manufactured by the best pump manufactured by the most advanced technology and science place. The best pump, something like the Rolls-Royce makes an engine, something like that. The most powerful engine. Compare the heart with that. Heart emerges victorious. The pump or the engine which runs a Boeing aeroplane falls short in its power when compared with the human heart. You know that? Only we don't pay attention. So that is the power of God within you. And then look at the sun, the moon, the rain-bearing clouds, the wind. That is the glory of God, the power of God without, everywhere. Be conscious of the power of God within and without all the time. And that makes you a God-conscious person. It is called the upasana. That will prepare you to sing sooner than later, that I am He, Shivoham. You will instead of looking at the glory of God within and without as though separate, now you will start feeling, no, it is myself. And so you will be able to sing Shivoham, Shivoham, I am He. So this is how this kind of upasana, which is described in this verse, will take you to the realization of the self as the Brahman. So then, who makes the sun set in the west? What is it that makes the sun set in the west? You can give answer as Brahma. If Brahma makes the sun rise in the east, same Brahma makes the sun set in the west. So that answer you can give. In fact, that answer only is given. Brahma, who is in the form of dharma, makes the sun set in the west. What is dharma? Dharma is hydrogen is a gas, that is dharma. At room temperature, hydrogen is a gas, that is dharma. Mercury is a liquid, that is dharma. And gold is a solid, that is its dharma. Carbon is a solid non-metal, that is its dharma. Then gold or iron, solid metal at ambient temperature, that is its dharma. Gold doesn't react with the atmospheric oxygen and water, and so it remains shining without getting affected by the atmosphere. That is its dharma. Iron gets oxidized by the atmosphere into iron oxide or iron hydroxide, whatever, that appears as rust. That is its dharma. Nothing wrong is happening anywhere. Iron rusting is dharma. Gold remaining without rusting is also dharma. And what is this dharma? Dharmo dharayati prajaha. It is dharma. The difference between cosmos and chaos is caused by dharma. The universe, the created universe, is cosmos. It is not chaos. A hurricane is there. Suppose you look at a hurricane. So the hurricane, it hits the land. It comes to the land. It is formed in the ocean and comes to the land. And when it comes to the land, when you stand at that point, you see all chaos around you. There is terrific wind, and the wind, once it hits from left to right, the next moment it hits from right to left. The wind is very chaotic. It doesn't flow in a particular way. And then rain. There is rain for 10 minutes. Then the rain stops. You feel that the rain has now stopped. But and you get out. And within 5 minutes the rains begin and you are drenched. Very chaotic. The wind, the rain, everything is chaotic. But the hurricane itself is not chaotic. There is no chaos in it. In that chaos, there is order. In that apparent chaos, there is order. So, this is, you must have heard it. So, the Russian ambassador in those days, in the days of Khrushchev, an ambassador of Russia in India, he served as ambassador for 3-4 years, and then he was transferred and a new ambassador came. Then when he was given farewell, the ambassador who served for 4 or 5 years, he was given farewell. And in the farewell speech he said, when I came to India, I came as an atheist because we are communists and we are atheists. But while going away from India, elsewhere, I go back as a theist. I now believe in God. Why? Because India is still functioning as a nation. There must be the power of God. Otherwise, such a chaotic, messy democracy is able to function still, and the society is surviving still. That must be God. You know, when Indira Gandhi went to Moscow, and she was sitting opposite Khrushchev, and they were discussing about economic cooperation, this and that. So in steel industry, Russia should help India. Like that, some memorandum of understanding, some discussions are going on. Then Khrushchev, he got all the intelligence about India. This happened really. Khrushchev could not control his superiority complex, and he said, you have so much of unrest in Northeast and in Kashmir. Are you sure that India will remain as a single unit, as a country in the coming decade? That is what Khrushchev asked. Indira Gandhi heard that point made by Khrushchev in the discussions. She understood the kind of thinking that Khrushchev had in raising such a question, which is very irrelevant and kind of an insulting question it is. But then she did not lose her cool and assured Mr. Khrushchev, India will remain a unified country, I assure you. And then she went back, and within the decade, Russia has become, USSR has become 10 countries, and India remained a united country even today. That is the power of God. So means USSR was so chaotic that it has become 10 pieces. But India, which apparently appears to be chaotic, was guided by the power of cosmos, and therefore it remained a unified country. Therefore, what I am trying to say, what is it that divides cosmos from chaos? Dharma. And so the hurricane, when you look at it in a very narrow way, in a very narrow context, when you look at it, it appears like a chaotic thing, but there is no chaos in hurricane. It is very much part of the cosmos. And that's why, so an election happens, somebody wins, that is part and parcel of cosmos. Nothing chaotic about it. It may not fit into your desire, but that is not the point. And therefore, the other day in India, election happened, and the result was not as expected. And it did not take much time for our Prime Minister to readjust, recalibrate his consciousness to the result which came. That is the will of the higher power. He recalibrated his mind, and within 2 hours, he is back to normal. Because there is a dharma which is working. And the dharma is the power of the Brahma, it is. And it never violates, it never goes wrong. It is always right. And dharma means dharmo dharayati prajaha. It is the cosmotic element, not cosmetic, cosmotic element. It doesn't allow chaos to take over. That is dharma. And that dharma makes the sun set in the west. That is the answer. Okay? That dharma makes your heart beat. And that dharma alone makes the heart stop. That is the dharma. Okay? That dharma brought COVID. That dharma brought vaccine. Both are the same dharma. So therefore, and the dharma is an integral part of the power of Brahman. Then, kaścainamastaṃ pratitiṣṭhati, the sun. The question is about the sun. what is the foundation for the sun, in which the sun is established. The sun who rises in the east and who sets in the west, in what is the sun established? You see, sun is the very origin of life. You have to understand. Sun is the origin of life on the globe. And that sun who makes life possible on the earth. And through photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the greatest vibhuti, the glory of the God. Suppose I give you a cylinder of carbon dioxide, a bucket of water. You make glucose out of it, I will see. That is what a blade of grass does. It pulls water from the ground and picks up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and absorbs sunlight and produces glucose. And we are alive by eating that glucose. And even the non-veg people eat the same glucose via an animal in between. Therefore, photosynthesis is the glory of God. So, therefore, what is it in which the sun is established? All life on earth, all the planets, etc., are established in the sun. And what is it in which the sun itself is established? The answer is again the Brahma. But then it is not called Brahma now. It is called Satya. Satye cha pratitiṣṭhati. There is an inviolable universal order in which the sun is established. And hence, the sun remains the perfect situation always, in the perfect imperfection always, because the sun is established in that universal order called Satyam. And that Satyam is another name for Brahma. So here we have seen Brahma in 4 ways. Brahma is the origin of everything in this creation, in particular making the sun rise in the east, and then all the forces of nature are so many manifest glories of that Brahma, and that Brahma is in the form of cosmos, making cosmos possible in contrast to the chaos, and hence called dharma, and that Brahma is the reality, Satyam, in which the moving sun, moon, etc., all the planets, the galaxies, etc., all of them are established. They take their refuge in that Satyam, the universal order, sometimes also called Ritam. That is called Satyam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So this is a very, very beautiful, very important verse which helps us to rise above our petty issues of life into the cosmic consciousness or God consciousness. In our childhood, we used to have a small riddle. The riddle is the teacher draws a line on the blackboard with a chalk and asks, you have to make the line short without touching it. Now you know the answer. The answer is, draw a bigger line, and now the line becomes short. We have to do that in life. So, with a very narrow tunnel of me and mine, we face calamities and more calamities only in life. And how to overcome these calamities? You rise above the narrow channel of me and mine into God consciousness. Means you lose your egotistic self in the universal power in Brahma. You just lose it in that. You adopt the upasana, and then eventually the jnanam as described in this verse. That is how you make the so-called personal problems irrelevant. And you rise above and you conquer these personal problems. Therefore, you see, we have to understand the problems of existence that we face. They are not at one level only, they are at different levels. Like I am doing a job and making money and making my family and so supporting my family. So in that level you may have some problems. But problems are not in that level only. There are problems at different levels. In a personal health, there are problems. The family situation, there are problems. The social context, there are problems. There are problems at different levels. And all these problems at different levels are interrelated. For example, you have a problem at the family level, and that's why you have a problem in your health. Suppose you don't create problem at the family level, meaning, to put it bluntly, you stop fighting with your spouse, your health also will improve. They are interrelated. Okay? And you stop having any expectation at the national level. In the national level, this party should govern, this person should win. All such expectations you drive away from your head. Then you will not have a problem at the social level. We do that in India. We don't have any problems at the social level because the social level problems are there only because your head has a problem of thinking properly. All these problems are interrelated. So, suppose somebody has psychological problem. It is connected to physiological problem. They are interrelated. And the physiological problem is invariably connected to psychological problem. And then both the psychological and physiological problems are connected to spiritual problem. Your spiritual context is all wrong. Your religious practices are wrong. They are inspired by belief and superstition. They are not inspired by understanding. That's why you have a serious problem at the spiritual level also. And when there is problem at the spiritual level, the psychological and physiological levels can never be right. There will be problems there. Therefore, you have to understand. So, like problem of food, it is at one level. And whereas problem of peace of mind, it is at another level. Multiple levels are there. So, you see, I ask you one question. There is economic problem, let us say. We try to solve the economic problem as though it is not connected to physiological problem. But then the economic problem is connected to physiological problem. You are given to all kinds of sense pleasures, and that created the economic problem. It is like, do you have credit card problems? Like a big billboard. Big billboard. Do you have credit card problems? Please dial 1-800, etc. You know, where do you find this billboard? Shall I tell you where it is? I was once going to Atlantic City. Just outside the Atlantic City, I saw the billboard. Just outside. And then I was talking about it. Then my friend told me, we have arrived in Atlantic City. Now you know, this credit card problem he has is connected to some other problem. Therefore, we do not understand that all these problems are interrelated, and we want to solve each one of these problems of life at its level without understanding the interrelation of various problems. Physiological problem, you go to the doctor and go to a specialist and then go to a surgeon and he is ready with his scalpel and all that. So, this attitude of not understanding the problems at different levels and not understanding their interrelationship, you are, I'm sorry, I'm saying you, I mean in a general way we say like that. So, we are seriously at fault at the level of spirituality. Our spirituality is at fault. It has to be questioned very seriously and set right. We don't do that. And we want to solve the physiological problem. It will never be solved. Therefore, when you try to solve the problems of life at different levels, exclusively to that level, when you try to solve, it leads to catastrophic results. You have to understand the interrelationship between physiological, psychological and spiritual. And the advice is, you first heal thy mind. You first heal the mind. You first set right your understanding of God, the cosmos, the universe, the creation, and your role in that creation. What is driving your life? You first set those issues, your understanding about those issues right. First set it right. Then your psychology will be very refined and highly informed, and wise it becomes, the psychology. When the psychological level you gain the wisdom, then the physiology will never pose any problem to you. You have to understand all these things. So, this is called departmental thinking. Every department is separate from every other department. This departmental thinking is a huge problem. You see, one patient was lying on the gurney or stretcher, not a stretcher. He was lying on the stretcher. Or he was lying on the bed, let us say. Then the cardiologist came and did some checking he did, and he saw the test results, and he made some notes and went away. And then the gastroenterologist came. There is no connection between the two guys. And then there came the urologist. He is utterly unconnected with the cardiologist. You see, the urologist says don't drink a lot of water, whereas the cardiologist says drink a lot of water. What should he do? This is the departmental thinking. A big problem. Very tough it is, I tell you. Very tough. This departmental thinking makes the life of the patients miserable. So we brought in this departmental thinking into our life. That will never solve the problem of existence. We have to integrate the physiology, the psychology, and the spirituality. We have to integrate all the three. And you have to put your spirituality right. You have to set it right. And then you have to heal thy mind. The mind you have to heal. And then the physiology follows suit. So we have to understand our existence in this creation as a whole process. There is sun, there is moon, there is wind, there are rivers. So every glory of the God is there all around, because of which we are able to live happily. And our problems are not separate from the whole. They are an integral part of the whole. And so you have to rise above the me and mine syndrome into the universal consciousness, the God consciousness, which interrelates all these levels. And in that consciousness, so apparently unrelated problems at different levels get connected properly, and you will have an integrated solution to all the problems of life. Also, I have taken up this topic, and now I will conclude. I won't raise this topic anymore. So, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana is there. You apply that Gita vision to this problem, you pay attention to the problem and respond to the problem. That is karma. And you seek answer, that is phala. Phala is the answer. Response is the karma. Therefore, you respond to the problem without seeking the answer. You got it? That is a very high philosophy it is. So, if you stop searching for the result, the problem ceases. You see, you take a pill and forget about it. Suppose there is headache. You take the right pill and forget about it. Right? Or you take the pill, now my headache, is it going or not? Is it going or not? Is it going or not? Is that the way to approach life? Array, headache, you said, you bear with it, you endure it. No, I am unable to endure. Okay, take Saridan or take Tylenol and keep quiet. Go lie down. No, when my headache will go away? Array, that is not the way to approach life. That's why you respond to the problem without seeking the result. The result is phala. Therefore, so in this way, what we do in our life, we live a life of contradictions. At different levels, there is contradiction. At one level, what you do contradicts your approach at another level. This is how so we are living. We talk of peace and we work for conflict. So we want to be happy. We do everything that brings misery. And we want health. We eat all kinds of food that make us sick. So we have to rise above these contradictions and we have to become God conscious. So a little modification here and there doesn't work. So there must be a revolution in the thought process. And you have to rise above the pettiness of thinking and you have to rise into the God consciousness and then allow the problems to be dissolved in the glory of that God consciousness. So that is this first verse. Then the next question, Yakṣa uvāca kena svichrotriyo bhavati kena svidvindate mahat kena svidvitiyavan bhavati rajan kena cha buddhiman. Here is a question which I could not really follow, but it is connected to the discussion that we have taken up till now. It would be incorrect to speak of God's will for us. You may say nothing wrong. You may say God's will and leave it at that. Or if it is particularly applying to yourself, you can say, it is the will of God about me. Like that you can say, nothing wrong in it. Suppose I have some health issue. I can say, it is the God's will that I have to face this health issue and I will face it. You may say like that. Saying is not the problem. But really we should say, our own will for ourselves, based on our history of karma over the years and lives. Okay, I understand. So, prarabdha is there, you know. You get what you deserve. What is the role of God in it? That is what you say. No. You get what you deserve. You get the phala of the prarabdha that you created for yourself earlier. That only you get, but under the supervision of God. Okay? It is like you drive your own car, you purchase your own gas and you drive your own car, but the infrastructure is provided by the city. Okay? Without the city's infrastructure, you cannot drive your own car by purchasing your own gas. Right? Similarly, you perform actions and you reap the result of those actions eventually. So whatever you get, pleasure or pain, is the result of your own actions, but sanctioned by the higher power. Okay? Therefore, we have to integrate both. The idea is you learn to become God conscious That is one advice. And the second advice is, an adversity has come upon you, which is not somebody else's handiwork, which is not the plot or some mischief of somebody else. It appears like that, but it is not so. That adversity has come from your own prarabdha. You are responsible for your pleasure and pain, sukha dukkha. Nobody else is responsible. You create your own destiny. You mold your own destiny. Take responsibility for yourself, on yourself. That is the idea of saying one. So there is no contradiction between the two. Okay? When you look at the limited picture, that you perform an action and you get the result. You reap what you sow. That is in the limited picture of a person's work and the result. But then in the higher picture, as you rise above into God consciousness, all this prarabdha, the sukha, dukkha, etc., will be nicely integrated into the whole. And as you become God consciousness, you will be able to overcome this small picture also. They are in place. There is no contradiction between the two. Generally, the example we give is, you work in a factory and everybody gets the salary according to the work that he performs there, but then the salary is dispersed by the general manager. That is how the God is also part and parcel of that. There is no contradiction. Did I answer the question? Yeah, that seems to be the question to me. And so that is God's plan for me. God's plan for me is in consonance with your own plan for yourself. Okay. So that answers the question. And any further questions are there? So this is over. So recommend Yoga Vasishtha. And another Vedanta teacher told me to refrain from reading it. You should have asked the reason for it. I recommended Yoga Vasishtha. Another Vedanta teacher advised the person to refrain from reading Yoga Vasishtha. What could be the reason for it? This kind of advice is given by some gurus. They say, you read my book only. Don't read Vivekananda's book. Why not? Then you read our scripture only. Don't read Bible. Why not? You should read Bible also. You should read widely. And you should not be guided by somebody else's judgment. You should form your own understanding, and your own understanding is good enough. Judgment you need not say. You understand. Suppose you read Bhagavad Gita, you read Bible, you understand which is most suitable for you, that you alone understand. So this kind of advice that you are a very beginner, don't read this book, don't read Ramana, don't read Vivekananda, you read my books only. This is very unfortunate, very unfortunate. I know some of the gurus advising, don't listen to that Swami's talks, you listen to my talks only. That also I know. Means very unsafe and very uncertain. The person is very uncertain in his own understanding of the truth or understanding of the vision. Very uncertain and very unsure and also insecure. You should not be like that. You should read widely. Okay? Now, coming to the specific point of Yoga Vasishtha, I sincerely recommend that you should read Yoga Vasishtha. And the Sanskrit you will not be able to make out, I tell you. It is tough. The entire Yoga Vasishtha you cannot read. Forget about it. You go for a concise version. There are abridgments, you go for the abridgment. Okay? And many Mahatmas have abridged the Yoga Vasishtha. I myself have abridged the first volume and took a camp in Salisbury. Then abridged the second volume, took another camp in the ashram. So many people have done abridgments and you can follow that. Then Ishwaran, there is a great philosopher by name Ekanath Ishwaran. I think he did an abridgment. I remember like that. That is a good one. And then in Telugu, so Vidyaprakashanandagiri has made an abridgment called Yoga Vasishtha Ratnakara. It is a very valid abridgment. You go for an abridgment only, because the original Yoga Vasishtha has 32,000 verses, bigger than the Ramayana itself. You will not be able to finish it. And then don't go for the Sanskrit unless you are a scholar of Sanskrit and you have a proper tika before you. Then only you can make out. Otherwise you will not be able to make out. So go for a good translation. And I recommend Swami Venkateshananda translation as a valid and good translation. Ekanath Ishwaran's translation is also good, assuming that he has abridged and translated. There are a few other books also. You take one of them. Swami Shivananda has written a book, The Stories of Yoga Vasishtha, small book. I have the book. It is it makes a beautiful reading. In English it is, a small book. So you should read Yoga Vasishtha. That is my recommendation. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Shyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om